I'm here today with David Bramhill, Executive Chairman of AIM-listed Union Jack Oil, Epicode UJO, an oil exploration company focused on drilling, developing and investing into a number of onshore projects in the north of England. David, it's good to speak with you again.
You too. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. So there's lots to discuss today, but before we get into the detail, can you provide a brief overview of Union Jack's key projects? And that of course includes West Newton, Wressle and Biscathorpe.
Yeah, I'd be delighted to, because I can see, I don't read these boards, but a lot of the shareholders, they indicate, have you seen this, have you seen that, and take me screenshots. So, I can understand. Unfortunately, it's not a quick game. Oil development isn't quick. We are making progress. I'll start with West Newton. Everyone's expecting the extended well test to happen, not just on the very nice discovery we had on the B1Z, but also on the A2, which was about 16 months ago, which has taken a hell of a time to get a proper plan sorted out. So all I can do is to assure shareholders that is, it's really, really, really been looked at. We've done countless tests, samples, photographs of core. We need to know exactly where to perforate. And all I can say is we're very, very nearly there. And I know that the partners, Railboat, put out a timetable. We're not far out. So, rather than, say on X day, blah, 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 there's going to be all the equipment turning up. Just let the operators do what they have to do. And I'm sure everything will be very, very good there. And the beauty of West Newton is we really, really don't know how big it is. We know that it extends at least 2.5 kilometers from the west to the east, but nobody knows what it's going to do to the north or south. It could be anything. There were wells drilled back in the 80s when the onshore scene was very, 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 very active with companies like Shell, BP. Everyone was involved, and those wells, even though many, many years ago, showed a hell of a lot of promise. And we love West Newton. Obviously, it's a nice project. So watch this space. It's going to happen, and I'm sure it'll be worth the wait.
Good. Okay. And Wressle and Biscathorpe?
No, Wressle, as everyone knows, we had a heck of a job with the council, North Links Council. We're all friends now. The inspectorate voted in our favour to allow us to develop the Wressle site. And the Wressle site isn't just about one formation. There are 3 formations. The Penistone Flags is for jewelling the crown, but you have to go from bottom to the top, not top from the bottom. So that's the reason why we're not going for the crown jewels first of all, because it's the way it happens. So in the early days, when we drilled the well, we had what you call a skin issue with the formation, with the well bore. And basically what that means is that it's like a cheapo sponge. It gets clogged up and you have to throw it away. But in this case, you obviously can't throw away a formation. So what we need to do is what they call a proppant squeeze. And that proppant squeeze, if you can imagine a hole in the ground, and when you perforate, i.e. fire the bullets into the formation, you go about 3 meters in, and that's the oil that flows out from that area. However, with the proppant squeeze, you go 25 meters, 25, and that really goes off that. If you can imagine the area. So in February, 1st of February, we made an announcement. Might have been the 2nd, but it was basically just a couple of days after the end of the month in January, which we said we would be producing first oil. And it really, really was a slight worry. You never take anything in the oil industry as being, oh, this is going to happen. You can't plan. It's probably about the worst thing you can ever do is to plan for an oil development, because there's always something going to come along and bite you in the bum. Thankfully, the situation worked. We perforated. We have oil flow. And contrary to what people are saying, oh, the tankers leaving site are full of water. But let me make it quite clear. So far, we haven't encountered any water in any formation during the initial test. With the ash over grit, It's 100% oil, good quality, 38. And I'm not going to tell you how much, but with the tankers leaving, they're all tankers. So you can imagine that we've produced a lot of oil. We let Egton give the facts and figures on that. The profit and squeeze should be allowed. I'm not going to say, oh, this is going to happen X, Y, Z, because with COVID, and it's not, I hate using that as an excuse or a reason, but the fact is the agencies aren't that efficient on giving permissions and all this sort of stuff, but we're on the cusp. I wouldn't have any worries at all. Don't listen to any propaganda. Everything is very, very good at Wressle, and it's an excellent, lovely project, a nice discovery.
Good. And Biscathorpe, David?
Excuse me. Biscathorpe, as you know, we made a discovery in the dynamic, and we missed the main section, was the Westphalian. However, we did make a discovery in the Dynantian. So what we needed to do was to reprocess the seismic. The seismic at that time caught the whole joint venture out. It wasn't, I'm not saying it was wrong, but it wasn't right, if you could make any sense of that. So we sent it off to a company in Paris, and the worry was whether or not there'd be any more targets on our license. Well, there were quite a few actually. So the JV, we've decided where we're going to drill. Those two targets will intersect the Dynantian and also the Westphalian. So you're getting two targets for the price of one. We put in a very, very robust situation for the planning with the council, who have been always historically been very, very good and very understanding, because things are modern now. When people look at I forget the name of the old silly American program, the Clampets, where they drilled a well and oil came up and flooded everywhere out, and everybody's jumping up and down and playing the banjo. Doesn't work like that.
Daniel Day-Lewis will go.
The regulations are absolutely so stringent. You've got a job to move. I'm not saying they're wrong, but anything that can be done, and especially to bring down carbon, of course. Who's going to argue against that? Even if it's my industry, I have to say it's right. Of course it is. Yes. So hopefully we'll hear from Biscathorpe, and we're planning to drill away by the end of the year.
Excellent. Okay.
And also we've still got Kennington, which we've added to. We've 35% of that producing field, and we know there's about another 1 million barrels there still to recover, and we'd like to do a sidetrack on there in due course. And the same applies with North Kelsey. We're looking for farming partners there. We've still got pots of cash left. If I can mention money, we haven't even touched the money we raised in the place in September. We haven't touched. So,
okay, excellent.
So in particular, I'm really, really don't like using the word excited, but happy, comfortable with the year ahead.
Okay, that's good. So, of course, today we have a really exciting development with the acquisition of the Piper Complex units from Cambridge Petroleum. Can you talk us through this? I'm going to bring up a slide now.
Be delighted. Yes, royalty units are pretty unknown in the UK. In America and Canada, it's a sort of way that most of these wells used to get funded, and the Canadians were ultra successful. And back probably 10 years ago, these companies made a fortune until the Canadian tax authorities hit them really hard. It made it very, very difficult for them to make money anymore. So the only other royalty in the UK I always remember, which was a prolific throwing out money for nothing, was the Sun royalty units, which were owned by E&I in the end. And they gave a return of about 1,000%. They're amazing things. And we with a few other little companies we used to run years and years ago, we owned quite a lot of royalties, and we see this now. What I'd like to stress, we believe that we have the best projects onshore UK. We really, really do. And my team, even though we're not an operator of these, we keep a keen eye on what happens, what goes on. My team, Graham Bull, who's been in this game for over 50 years, maybe a bit longer, as I have, starting off with Road Talk. He's got a great team, a very, very good team. They're always coming up with some of the most brilliant ideas. So we believe that we've got 5 really, really cracking onshore projects, of which one of them, hopefully West Newton, because it's the biggest. Wressle, Biscathorpe is an unknown. We know it's the largest undrilled prospect onshore UK and hasn't even been tested yet. So I have to say, I'm pretty happy about going forward now on that one. But my aim, and I've always stated this, is to ensure that we are a mid-tier company in due course. That doesn't happen overnight. It's taken us years to get where we are now. Our asset value is every single year. Our asset value has gone up. We've got our annual report coming out in a couple of months' time. I obviously can't mention the figures there, but if the trend, as the old saying, the trend is your friend. If you follow the trend, then you might be okay. And you'll see that all these monies which we've raised in the past haven't been used to pay directors' salaries or have a good time. We've used all this money very, very wisely, and I think the results of this are actually shown and have been shown every year. So we've decided that these royalties have come up for sale. They've been almost dormant for years, a few years, where they're owned by some majors and some major banks. I'm not going to name them, and we've made an offer in respect to this modest acquisition, with the view to taking a larger position. So at the end, if you work out, anyone can do the figures themselves, they'll find out that this could throw off, again, it's almost like owning an oil well without the worries about decommissioning and breakdowns, operating costs, joint venture meetings. It's basically money being given to you for an investment. On this particular deal, the rate of return, internal rate of return, is 129%.
Okay.
And the yield ranges from 25 to 29%. And the payback time is less than a year. Now, what isn't there to like about this type of investment? It remains is totally appropriate to what our stated strategy is, to invest in UK oil sector, which is what we're doing. And it also gives you the gravitas of being part of a North Sea scenario without having the worries of running a well. We think it's terrific.
Okay.
And as you can see, we are at an advanced stage for what I would say an extremely nice chunk of this, and it would be material. So once again, the cash flow coming in from that would be like cash flow coming from Wressle or Keddington, and hopefully one day West Newton.
Yeah, the acquisition benefits of the Piper complex are laid out here quite clearly. We can see generation of an annuity type of cash flow, no exposure of the royalty investment to capital expenditure, operating costs, or decommissioning costs, and of course you're receiving cash payments net of petroleum revenue tax.
That's right. Now with this situation, there's a new manager being appointed from Repsol Sinopec of the operators, and there'll be a new manager appointed soon, I'm pretty sure. And what we've actually bought is, of this deal, we're getting 120,000 almost like back costs due to us. The whole deal has cost us minimus for the next 10 years production for 2.5% to 3% interest. No, there's nothing not to like about this type of thing. As I say, in America and Canada, they're very much sought of. There's actually auction sites where you can buy royalties, and they're amazing. When you get a mass, it throws off money like bandits.
Sure. And of course, the acquisition was paid for out of existing cash resources too.
Oh yes, yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
Good, excellent. So, David, moving on, you undertook a share consolidation a while ago, which was very successful. I think, in fact, it was picked up by the Financial Times. Can you elaborate on the consolidation and how that's gone?
Of course, we should have done it years and years ago, to be honest with you. But every time we were talked out of it, the shareholders wanted it, but certain areas of advice say, oh, you'd be making a bad move and consolidations always go down. No, that's not true. Some companies get themselves in such a tiswas that they have to do a consolidation for technical reasons as well, why they need to do it. And they go off and basically the share gets whacked again. And we had, believe it or not, 20 billion shares in issue at 0.14, 15, 17.2. So the highest sort of price, even though it was all relative, I've always said it's not the number of shares in issue, it's a market cap.
Yeah.
That remains the same. But what does matter is the public's and the investors' vision or perception of what the company is actually doing. If you're a new guy and I said, I've got a share for you, 0.16 of a penny, you say, God, are they about to go? And who could blame them when in fact we've got a lot of cream actually rising to the top, or it's all coming together nicely. We thought, right, now is the right time to do this. We've got a bunch of loyal shareholders, and I have to say that some have been with me for years. I speak to them. I sometimes get told off and say, oh, David, why do you speak to shareholders? A lot of them are my friends, so why shouldn't I speak to them? Yeah. They know that they never get, every now and again you get people trying to pick some inside stuff out of you, but that doesn't work. That doesn't happen. All these fallacies. Our company is as tight as a drum.
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's part of the game, I suppose, with what people say.
Yeah.
So we decided this time we're going to go to the consolidation, and the voting, which again is public knowledge. We had 2 billion votes for and 233 million votes against. So what does that tell you? The immediate thing that happened was the Financial Times FT Online, and you can pick this off the site, come along with an overview of our company, basically quoting all the analyst price, which ranged from 90p to 180. And we're really in the forefront now. It's been nice to be picked up and be on the FT's watch list now on their equities focus page. Super. And they quote everything. So that's a positive result. The actual volumes haven't changed at all. If anything, they increased on Friday, because if you go to old money, we're well over 100 million shares traded. Yeah. So nobody's losing on this. No. And we had quite a nice jump. And we've got a target price. We've got a modest target price of 90 from one company, but they're very, what the word I'm trying to say, they're very, very conservative. If a broker's in-house man says you're worth 180, these guys are saying, well, we don't disagree with you, but our own model says this. So it's all down to opinion. But I think it's a very, very good move. And also, it brings a lot more institutional investors on board. And this is what we're looking for. Instead of the sort of day trading where people might buy 10, 15 million in the morning and flog them off at night and make the price of an evening meal, this is because it's not really, it's trading, and I understand that, but at least this way we have a better control over things.
I understand.
And we've less than 99 million shares in issue now.
Yeah.
Which, if you check that against our peer groups, puts us in a very, with the actual good things that we've got going forward, they're not all going to work, Alan. And no. Shareholders, of course they're not. Along the road, one of these, or even two of them, may hit dust. The one that you think is a dog becomes, when you say, well, I never realized that. But this is what oil development, production, exploration is all about. This is what attracts. You never ever know.
Of course.
And I think we're relatively low risk, and it's not a fact that you can say low risk means low reward. In this case, low risk can mean high reward, especially with things like Biscathorpe. I keep mentioning Biscathorpe. It's been part of my family for 7 years. So if you see what I mean.
Sure.
So we're looking forward to that one. West Newton is is an excellent situation. Our partners are very, very good. We're with Egdon, Europa, Rehobold. So, what's there not to like about what the companies are doing?
Absolutely. So COVID permitting, David, what else can we expect from Union Jack in 2021?
Well, what else? What we're obviously hell bent on getting some proper revenues in our company. I need that bottom line. I just don't need it. We all do. We need to make a success, and I hate failure. Really, every day I'm sat over my screen when we're drilling well, praying to God that geologists aren't always right. But I've got a good feeling about everything that we've got at the moment. I've got a really, really good feeling. But in answer to your question, we've got and this isn't necessarily the order of play. This may happen first, that may happen second. But we know that we've got there's going to be a competent persons report for this is already public domain for West Newton, and that would coincide. There's nothing to stop companies working, so I would suggest that there'd be somebody appointed. There has to be, because things are so close with the extended well test. We have to bring everything in line, everything surrounding all the periphery bits and pieces, and one of the most important parts of that is to appoint somebody serious to do a competent persons report. Then you've got the extended well test for the A2 well and the B1Z, which is a surprising well. That was a real barnstormer of a well. I've never seen anything like it in the UK, but I can put my hand on that heart one. Sounding like Huey Green, anyone old enough to remember who he is, but bottom line is,
I remember.
you do, God. I remember Michael Mars as well. But what I'm saying is that when we were getting the gas returns, normally if you have a discovery, because you'll be drilling down, you see your logs, and the gas would be non-existent or maybe traces. Then all of a sudden, and you can see this on our website where we've got the B1Z presentation, you can see the gas going absolutely berserk, and it goes up to nearly just under 10%. Background gas, 10%. Wow. We've taken the core. We've pictures of core on our website. You can put your fingers in it. You can put pencil in there. You can see the permeability. You can see the porosity. You can see the cracks. There's definitely fracturing within that, natural fracturing within that rock. So I would be the most, if it doesn't give a really, really nice result, I think everyone, apart from the disappointment, would be highly surprised. You never know, but I've never seen a well like it with the characteristics of what we've seen. And the beauty of West Newton, we don't know how big it is. We've only gone laterally in one direction. So we haven't even gone as far west as we could. Right. Okay. We've gone east. We know how far east it goes. That's in the bag. Massive, 2.5 miles length. We've got the north, the south, and the west. Still to do. Could be anything. There's lots of speculation on major stalking. I can't comment on that, and I never will. Not for me to say. No. So we've then got Wressle. Wressle is still under construction. I'm not sure that the investors realise that. We're still working on it. It doesn't stop us perforating or flowing the oil and planning for the future. So prop and squeeze, that will happen in the near future. Yep. Hopefully we do something at Kennington. We're waiting for planning permission at Biscathorpe. We've another deal to be done with the royalties, which again will add a lot of cash to our situation, which is the name of the game in any company. Mm-hmm. So I would suggest that the news flow, can't guarantee if it'll all be good, but some of it will be for sure. Excellent. And some very exciting developments in prospect for 2021 then, David. Union Jack has never been in a better position, Alan. Excellent. It really, really hasn't. And we're all very happy about it.
David Bramhill, Executive Chairman of Union Jack Oil, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Alan, and thank you everyone for listening.